On this episode of China Uncensored, coming soon to a Walmart near you, more cheap goods from China. Hello and welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Big money news out of China last week. China's central bank devalued its currency.
Beijing's decision on Tuesday to slash its daily reference rate by 1.9% has triggered the yuan's biggest one-day loss against the dollar in more than 2 decades.
Then they did it 2 more times right after. In total, it means all those cheap products we buy from China just got almost 5% cheaper. Hello, 94-cent store. China wants to make its exports cheaper for foreigners, like me. So what's not to like? Well, there's been some pretty negative reactions. Presidential candidate Lindsey Graham called it cheating. Lawmakers called it provocative. The Guardian said it could spark a tidal wave of deflation. Foreign policy asked if it could plunge the world into recession. Seriously? That's why I'm joined today by someone who holds a degree in economics from the University of Pennsylvania.
They devalued their currency today. They're making it absolutely impossible for the United States to compete, and nobody does anything. China has no respect for President Obama whatsoever.
Sorry, an expert who holds a degree in economics from the University of Pennsylvania. Shelley?
Thanks, Chris.
So why are the Chinese making their currency weaker? I assume it's mainly because they have no respect for President Obama.
Yes, Chris, this was definitely because China was trying to disrespect President Obama.
I can't quite tell if you're serious right now.
I'm always serious, Chris. Chinese officials say they're trying to let market forces play a bigger role in determining the value of the yuan. But really, it's about China's economy, or rather China's economic slowdown. We don't know exactly how much the economy has slowed, but it's safe to say it's more than official data shows. Devaluing the yuan makes it easier for China to export its goods globally. And if other countries buy more stuff that's made in China, of course that helps China's economy. In the short term, at least.
I thought China already had a pretty strong economy. Didn't they announce 7% growth last quarter, compared to only 2.3% in America?
That's true, but A, China's official GDP figures aren't, let's say, accurate, and B, the Communist Party is nervous about economic growth slowing too much, because that could lead to dropping wages and greater unemployment, which could in turn trigger social unrest. Take a look at this chart from the New York Times. It shows that strikes and other labor protests have skyrocketed in the last 2 years. And recent protests have been about workers demanding unpaid wages. That's a bad sign because it means that companies are struggling. In some cases, workers hadn't been paid for 8 months.
The yuan only dropped by 5% though. So how big a deal is it?
Look, the value of the yuan has risen 30% since 2005, so to make it fall by 5% now is not that huge. It just seems like a shock because China's central bank did it so suddenly. It was unexpected, and since no one really knows what Chinese officials are planning to do, there's a lot of speculation. The bottom line is that China has no intention of letting the price of the yuan be determined by the market. The government is still going to manipulate it as they need to. What this does show is that China's economy is weaker than people think. That's why officials did this.
So then what does the yuan devaluation mean for the US?
Short term, cheaper Christmas presents. Long term, though, it's bad for US jobs and it's bad for US businesses trying to sell to China. Some economists say this could have an impact on interest rates or cause deflation, but it's hard to say at this point. Again, it's a small drop, and China's central bank says it's a one-time deal.
So is this going to plunge the world into recession, as foreign policy put it?
No.
No?
No.
Shelley Jiang. So what do you think about China's currency devaluation? Leave your comments below and be sure to subscribe for more episodes coming soon. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. That means 1 in every 15 Americans is now in this hacker's database, just from that one breach. But who could this mysterious hacker be?
What countries are attacking the United States as we sit here in cyberspace?
Well, I don't want to give you a complete list, but I can tell you at the top of the list is the Chinese.
On this episode of China Uncensored, he who controls the world's gold controls the world.